living Elohim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. Pick this up in John 5:39. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life. And there they was testifying me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you, that you have not the love of me in you. I come in my Abba's name, and you receive me not. For another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. How can you believe but receive honor one from another, and receive not the honor that comes from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you. Abba, there's one that accuses you, even Moses, in whom you trust. 21 and verse 28. Proverbs 21 and 28. A false witness shall perish, but the man that hears, and we very well may, but we want perpetuity, strength, victory, enduring, everlastingness, enduring of life, everlastingness. Your characters are Noon, Sod, and Kod. So you see how there's separation in the way of life. Now listen to that again. The man that here speaks constantly. I want you to come to John 12 and 44. After that, John 6. Because what does this mean? If a man hears and believes the word, then he's going to speak everlasting life. Notice that it said the man. So that means that we're going to have to determine who the man is who has done this. Ish, which is simply man, a human being, a male, a man, a servant, great man. However you want to do, however you want to. So, John chapter 12, 44. Yahushua cried and said, believe on me, believe not on me, but on him that sent me. And he that see me, see him that sent me. I come a light into the world, that whosoever believe on me should not abide in darkness. If any man hear my words and believe not, I judge him. For I should speak. And I know that his instructions is life everlasting. Back it up now. Whatsoever I speak, therefore, even as Abba said unto me, so I speak. Back it up now. Remember, right? He speaks Nasak constantly. Everlasting life. I have not spoken of myself. The Abba which sent me, he gave me a commandment, what I should say and what I should speak. And I know that his commandment is life everlasting. Whatsoever I speak, determine that he hears, then we also going to determine that he is going to speak the endurance of life. See, it's a lot of back and forth with some brothers about what the man was teaching and what he was about, and the man about everlasting life. That's what he was sent to do. Matter of fact, before we even read John 6, because I want to read John 5, I also want to read John 18. So come back to John 18. We won't pick it up at 36. We pick it up at 37. 18 and 37. Praise Yahuwah. YouTube trip. Praise Yahuwah. We here though. John 18:37. Pilate therefore said unto him, are you a Malik then? Yahushua answered, you say that I'm a Malik. To this end was I born, and for this cause came I into the world, that I should bear witness unto the truth. Everyone that is of the truth, hear my voice. He set his solitary amongst the families, or his only begotten son, that he might give you prosperity in your bonds. These are things that we have to consider. When we actually pay attention to everything that Yahushua spoke to you many, many times over the course of years, because it's not flashy. It's born, if you will. It's born, if you will. If you will. And I see a couple of people out there fell out. I don't even know if we even gonna be able to maintain it. It don't even matter. I'm live. We here. It's there. People come back and see it later, because I know YouTube trick. So, with that being said, uh, here's what I'll do. This is what I'll do. This is what All right, book. So I'll start all over again. I know the thing tripped. So let's come back to John chapter 12, right? Pick it up about verse 44. All right. You know, we don't know what YouTube got going on today, but it is what it is. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. So John chapter 12, right? Now, case in point, y'all willing it'll keep the record when they get past going on whatever they got going on. So you can be able to refer back in that regard. Of course, it'll still be here though, but it'll still be in the regular location. So John chapter 12 and verse 44. Yahushua cried and said, "He that believe on me, believe not on me, but on him that sent me. He that see me, see him that sent me. I come a light into the world, that whosoever believe on me should not abide in darkness. If any man hear my words and believe not, I judge him not, for I come not to judge the world, but to save the world. He that reject me and receive not my words, have one that judge him. The word that I have spoken, the same shall judge him in the last day. For I have not spoken of myself, but Abba which have sent me, he gave me a commandment what I should say and what I should speak. And I know that his commandment is life everlasting. Whatsoever I speak, therefore, even as Abba said unto me, so I speak." So what does this mean? Well, we just read Proverbs 21 and 28, and it says that a false witness perish. He that here speaks constantly. Constantly is nasak. It means everlasting life, enduring life, perpetuity, everlasting. So he that here speaks everlasting life. It's YouTube, my man. Yeah, it's definitely YouTube because video's not uploading for nobody. Like that junk went to tripping before I even went live, and then in the first live just spam, but didn't actually click over. It clicked over on the second go around. But YouTube got something going on. 9 times out of 10, these white folks doing whatever it is that they do. You know what I'm saying? But praise be to the living Elohim. Ain't stop nothing. So notice that what he said right here in the 12th chapter of 49th verse of the book of the Apostle John, uh, that he said he gave him an instruction, which means he heard. And because he heard, therefore he spoke of everlasting life, because he said that he knows that his commandments are life everlasting. So we have established that Yahushua is that man who hears and speaks constantly. This is again one of these situations where reading it in English does not convey the actual intent, though it could be inferred if you who is giving you a level of understanding to be able to see, even in English, what is being conveyed. So what you have here is an individual who hears. They will speak of the things that pertain unto life. See, matter of fact, come over here to Hebrews chapter 6. And that's the things that we ought to be speaking, the things that pertain to salvation, things that pertain to everlasting life. And I get all the other things that everybody likes to discuss and things of that nature. But at the end of the day, if your soul ain't right, you're going to hell. Ain't just you on the other side of the camera. That's every last one of us who walk in this flesh. No one is excluded. I'm included. Everyone's included. If your soul not right, you're going to hell. And then you'll have to sit back and look at, of all the things that we sat back and invested time and energy into, was it worth it? If we don't enter into life. See, we get caught up in stuff by people who don't believe, people who want to argue and debate. That junk ain't hitting on nothing. You got to ask yourself this question. I'm being dead serious, right? Especially if the person say they in the word. Is it really worth going back and forth with somebody and you know they don't possess the spirit of the living Elohim? What sense does it make to get in any type of debate with anybody about the word when you know that they do not have life dwelling in them? What would be the point and the purpose? Why would you even sit there and wrestle over words that won't even lead to life with someone who has even achieved life? That goes back to stuff that I told you in the past. See, thank the Lord, most of y'all are married. Why would you even entertain somebody who don't even seek to know the living Elohim? See, I like to say, right? I'm not one of them people who feel like the Lord would direct you to somebody to convert them so you can be with them. That's all, man. That's your purpose. That's your desire. You chose to do that. If it works out well, thank the Lord. But at the end of the day, you chose. That's not. He doesn't do that. You've never seen him do things of that nature. He's just not going to do it. So if an individual don't believe or follow nothing that you do, what's the point? You know what I'm saying? I'm not at the point of exclusion, but what is the point of top rank intimacy of any kind? Because intimacy is not just a physical thing. Why would I want to be that close to you? You're dead. And I have no desire for dead bodies. And of course, you know what the Lord told, let the dead bury the dead. If the Lord himself could look a man in the face and say, what you worry about them for? If they dead, let them stay over there. You come over here. See, that's a hard pill to swallow. See, a lot of brews talk about a lot of things that man say. Why they don't talk about that? Or why they don't talk about when the man say that which is highly esteemed among men is an abomination before Elohim. Matter of fact, he say you are those who justify yourselves before men, but Elohim know your hearts, and that which is highly esteemed among men is an abomination before Elohim. He wasn't talking to his apostles when he said that. He was talking to everybody. We'll read it in a moment. Let's continue. Hebrews 6, though, right? I want you to come over here to 6 and 4, man. I'm going a little longer, man. It is what it is. It's already been a long day, so it looks like it's going to be a long night. Not a long day as forth is negative, just a lot of work. For it is impossible for those who were once enlightened and have tasted of the heavenly gift and were made partakers of the Ruach HaKodesh and have tasted the good word of Elohim and the powers of the world to come, if they should fall away, to renew them again unto repentance, seeing they crucify to themselves the Son of Elohim afresh and put him to an open shame. For the earth which drank the rain come oft upon it and bring forth herbs meet for them by whom it is dressed, and receive blessing from Elohim. But that which bear thorns and briars is rejected and is nigh unto cursing, whose end is to be burned. But beloved, we are persuaded better things of you, and things that accompany salvation, thus, though we thus speak. For Elohim is not unrighteous to forget your work and let it show towards his name, and that you minister to the saints and do minister. And we desire that every one of you do show the same diligence to the full assurance of hope unto the end. that you be not slothful, but followers of them who through faith and patience inherit the promise. So, with that being said, he said the things that accompany salvation, that's what we speak. So you have to ask yourself, are those the things that you speak? Are those the things that are being conveyed? That's what things that a lot of us don't want to discuss, don't want to talk about, because it's an uncomfortable proposition. Come to Luke 16 real quick, right? Then we'll go to John 5, and from John 5 to John 6. And from John 6, John 18. We'll probably do John 18 first because we were reading over John 18. And then the thing went to trip. But Luke chapter 16 real quick. John chapter 16, right? You can pick it up at 9. Because verses 1 through 13, he was talking to his apostles. But the Pharisees also heard it and commented. And that's when he went ahead and cracked their skull open. And I say unto you, make yourselves friends of the mammon of unrighteousness, that when you fail, they may receive you into everlasting habitations. He that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much. He that is unjust in the least is also unjust also in much. If therefore you have not been faithful in the unrighteous mammon, who will commit to your trust the true riches? Now, see, we didn't talk about that before, but just to keep it simple so we can move on, because we didn't talk about riches before. The riches are Elohim and the things that pertain to. Or if you ain't even been faithful with the little bit of money you supposed to watch over, because you're undisciplined in your spending. You buy things that you don't need, spend money that you don't have. For whatever the reason, you're not being faithful over that. Why would this man give you the Ruach HaKodesh? You ain't gonna know what to do with it. You're gonna waste that away like you waste your wages away. Since I said that, pause. I got chapter 1 on general principle. Don't never need a reason for this one here. This one here just come out when it need to come out. You understand? I got 1 and 1 on general principle. In the second year of Darius the king, in the 6th month, and the first day of the month, came the word of Yahuwah by Haggai the prophet unto Zerubbabel, the son of Shalathiel, the governor of Yehuda, and to Yahushua the son of Jehozadak, the high priest, saying, Thus speaketh Yahuwah of hosts. This people say, the time is not come, the time that Yahuwah's house should be built. Then came the word of waste. Now therefore, thus saith Yahuwah of hosts, consider your ways. You have sown much and bring in little. You eat, but you have not enough. You drink, but you're not filled with drink. You clothe, but there's none warm. And he that earn wages to put it into a bag with holes. Thus saith Yahuwah of hosts, consider your ways. Now look what he said, right? He was talking about the house of Yahuwah being laid waste, and you up there chilling in your house. But the thing he told you was to consider your ways. Because this man wasn't going to commit anything to your behalf when you weren't even faithful with the little bit he was giving you on the natural side. But let's come back to Luke chapter 16, if you would. And let's read verse 11 one more time. If you therefore have not been faithful in the unrighteous mammon, who will commit to your trust the true riches? And if you've not been faithful in that which is another man's, who shall give you that which is your own? No servant can serve two masters, for he will either hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve Elohim and Mammon. Now, he was just sitting here telling you, because he tell you that in Proverbs 23, if you didn't know. But if you did know, come over here and look at it. Proverbs chapter 23, if you did know. 23 and 1. Oh, she ain't gonna be able to be in that. You're gonna have to add her. I ain't even know she had no pay. You're gonna have to add her. Because the group private. So yeah, you're gonna have to add her to the group. Or I'm gonna have to add her. And I can't do it right now at this moment. Proverbs 23 and 1. If you can add her, you got a fact because I'm gonna have to approve it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. He say, when you sit to eat with a ruler, consider diligently what is before you, and put a knife to your throat if you be a man given to appetite. Be not desirous of his dainties, for they are deceitful meat. I see what he's sitting here telling you. No, she has to be added to the Facebook group. You can add her to the group chat. Yeah, you can do that easily. But I have to approve her to be added to this, which I can do that, but I can't do it while I'm live. I have to cut it off and start it up again. I ain't know she had no Facebook page, or I'd have been did it. But I don't ask about those type of things, male or female. Just just don't run across my mind. This situation is kind of like what you've seen with Daniel sitting out, because a lot of people think this gives him with Ian. But number one, you could look at verse 2 in regards to if you know you're given over to lust, like Yahusha told you, if your eye offends you, to pluck it out. But he's telling you when you're sitting in front of somebody who is a ruler, you need to consider diligently what they got going on, and don't be desirous of what they have, because what they have is to be deceiving to you. See, we was talking about something about this kind of like last night, just because we be checking out the brother Kevin Samuel stuff he talking about in the circles of men who he's talking about running around, and this could have you in the presence of rulers, high level people who can make decisions. And I have no desire to be in the presence of men of that sort, because those men are desperately wicked. And though you could sit down and be able to make business contacts and do all those type of things, and if you would permit that to go down, then praise be to Elohim. I don't want to be around these wicked niggas, because I know whatever them wicked niggas got going on, they got going on for the means of deceiving you, and deceiving you in regards to rejecting your Elohim. And some men are willing to compromise themselves for advancement in life. I thank the Lord he's never given me that type of mind. I will not compromise myself for anything or anyone, especially not for money or status. Who cares about that? He was having a conversation about something, and the first thing came to my mind was Moses being refused to be called Pharaoh's daughter, choosing rather to suffer affliction with the sons of Elohim than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season. And then after that, Psalm 37 come to mind. Do not be envious of evil men and the things that they have. Don't desire the things that they have, nor desire to be with them. And I don't. You know what I'm saying? I don't. Doesn't mean that I'll be rude and disrespectful to anyone. And if they can help advance what I got going on, then praise be to the Lamb. But I don't care nothing about them people or what they got, because I understand exactly what the Lord just said. You cannot serve Elohim and Mammon. And it's not the fact that money is so inherently evil, but he just told you you're going to love one and hate the other. Just the same way people talking about, can you love two people at one time? You're a whore. You're a whore. You're not, no, there's no two things equal on the earth. You're not going to love two people the same. You're not. It's not even going to happen. It's not even going to happen. It's not even going to happen. You know what I'm saying? It's not even going to happen. So you have to understand something, right? There's nothing wrong with wanting to be successful and whatever your definition of success is, but you never compromise your ideals, your conduct, your standards, your righteousness, kadoshness, or the faith for anyone or anything. You just don't do it. It's not worth it, because what they have to give is perishable. Elohim's things are everlasting and continual. So you can't sway me with fiat currency and status of wicked men. Like, I would not feel some delight that I'm rubbing shoulders with wicked men. Men who blaspheme the name of my Elohim daily. Why would I feel some level of sense of esteem by standing next to these niggas? It makes no sense to me. I only want to stand next to the Lord and everyone who is born of him. Now that will put some level of esteem in my heart. Not that I am someone, but that we are all standing here with our Elohim, and we're able to serve and honor and praise him for all eternity. Stand next to no wicked bastard. That John don't mean nothing to me. David told you, boy, I will not know a wicked person. You must be stupid. You know what I'm saying? Nevertheless, labor not to be rich. Cease from your own wisdom. Will you set your eyes upon that which is not? For riches certainly make themselves wings, and they fly away as an eagle towards heaven. See, we don't want to deal with that, talk about that. But see, I'm gonna keep it real now. Some dudes will get you that, they'll shoot you that, and that's the excuse for being a bum. Because you know, there's a lot of broke niggas who come out there Israel, boy. Niggas looking dingy and dusty. You know what I'm saying? I've been telling y'all that for years, man. Our boys don't be on that, man. Man, take care of yourself, man. Show you love yourself, man. That junk ain't about being this, that, and the third. That junk show about how you feel about yourself. Women too. Nigga, wash your hair. Keep it done. You know what I'm saying? Slide to the barber, let him tighten you up, man. You know what I'm talking about? Keep your gear tight. Keep your shoes on point. You know what I'm talking about? My nigga, ain't nothing wrong with man, groom yourself, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? Put some cologne on, man. You a woman, smell good. You should be walking around here smelling like outside and breath. You a woman. You supposed to be inviting. You're supposed to be wanting to, yeah, I want to get up under her, not because you horny, because you're inviting. It's a nice, gentle presence. You look good. You smell good. I just sit here because of the women I've been around in my life. Well, I ain't never known a woman like, what? Don't want to look good? Well, something wrong with that, my nigga. Something wrong with that. Well, you don't care about your appearance as a woman? Nigga, that's weird. That's weird. You know what I'm saying? My people wasn't on that. And the women I done dealt with in my lifetime, they wasn't on that. Nigga, that's weird to me. You don't care about your appearance. You don't care about how you go out the door. Nigga, you weird. You know what I'm talking about? You weird. Yeah, that junk is normal. You know what I'm saying? And a man, shoot, man, you be on the same thing, man. Do that junk for yourself, my nigga. We were talking about that like a couple weeks ago. Well, my people taught me that. So all that grooming, all that stuff, my people taught me that, man. You know what I'm saying? So I've been doing that junk since I was like 14, 15 years old. You know what I'm saying? I try to make sure my appearance on point since I was a kid. My money got to be down bad. And even then, you know what I'm saying, depending on what I got, but I'm not with that. That's why I mention all that. Because just because you're not chasing after money don't mean you can't be no bum. I know these bruisers tell you be a bum, man. Out here dingy and dusty, man. That junk ain't cool, my G. That junk's not cool. That junk is not cool, boy. I don't care how many kids you got, what you got going on, boy. There ain't no excuse for that, man. Ain't no excuse for that, man. Show your love and care about yourself, man. That junk ain't right. Come back over here, man. Luke 16. Nisha, if you didn't add her, tell her to send me, Michael, to send me a request so I can make sure that she get added. Just in case she don't pop up if I type it in there, if it didn't let you do it. 16 and 13 one more time. No servant can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve Elohim and man. You can't do both. That's why he told you don't love the world, neither the things in the world. Because the love of the world is the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life. And the love of the Father is not in you. But again, man, that don't mean you be no bum, because he told you in Jeremiah, this is a long captivity. So build you houses and get married and do what you got to do. But that man told you the love of money is the root of all evil. For though some lusted after it, they pierced themselves through with many sorrows. The reason why it's important, because it's nothing for Elohim to make someone wealthy on the natural side. That's nothing. That is absolutely nothing for him to do. It's nothing for him to do. We talking about grind, ain't nothing wrong with that. We men, you're supposed to build something, leave something to your offspring, take care of your wife. You know what I'm talking about? What you're supposed to do. But if you get caught up in it, that's gonna take you off track. You end up getting distracted and not pursuing the things that you ought to pursue. I can say prove positive. And I kind of discerned it and understood it at the time. And no kind I did that when it was beginning to really learn the word, anything business wise, job wise, it didn't go through because it would have been a distraction. I just willing to suffer that. On the outside looking in, ain't nobody gonna understand that, but it wasn't for them to understand. Because this is the reason why we're sitting here right now. If I'd have been doing everything else, that I desire to do, we probably wouldn't be sitting here right now. I've told you this many a day and many a time. Anything in your life that didn't go the way that you thought it would go or the way that you wanted it to go was all to get you to the point for you to receive the gospel of Yahushua when you were supposed to get it. Anything in a different direction, you wouldn't have got it. You who already know, he already know your heart and how it's set up. He know what to keep you from. He know what to present to you. You don't know, because just like a small child or a teenager who think they know everything and know all about life and can't nobody tell them nothing, we ain't no different no matter what age we are, whether you in your 20s, 30s, or 40s. Because you a child to him, you his sons and daughters. He already know. Well, I can't let that boy go over there and do that. Because he going to crack his head and he going to turn away from me. I can't let her go over there and do that. She going to go buck wild. We don't consider them things. That's his mercy that he keep you from stuff. Or things that you desire to do and directions you want to go, you didn't get to go and do. Man, when I got out of prison, I'm like, boy, I got to get me a gig. Boy, I can't stay at my mama's house. Boy, I got to go. Boy, I've been going for 5. Boy, I'm not trying to stay around here. And guess what he had me do? Stay right there. And guess what I was doing the whole time? Devouring the role to prepare me for this moment that we in right now. At the time, that ain't what you desire. But boy, hey, it's better for me to serve Elohim than to be worrying about chasing some money. And I thank the Lord for the ability to understand that even in infancy. Nevertheless, verse 14, the Pharisees also, who were covetous, heard all these things, and they ridiculed the man for it. They ridiculed the man because he was telling his disciples, man, chase Elohim and not money. And they cracked jokes on him. But thank the Lord. Look what he told them. And he said unto them, you are they which justify yourselves before men. But Elohim know your hearts, for that which is highly esteemed among men is an abomination in the sight of Elohim. The law and the prophets were until John. Since that time, the kingdom of Elohim is preached, and every man press into it. We didn't talk about that, huh? The Malakut for Elohim, we didn't talk about that. The reign of Elohim, or everybody got to press into that. Everybody got to press into that. The reign of Elohim is everlasting life. Say about you niggas ruling in no kingdom. You ain't even ruling, son. It ain't even your kingdom. Niggas talking about we gonna take the kingdom. You're not taking nothing. The kingdom is being given to you. You ain't taking nothing because it's not your kingdom. Nobody on this earth is going to be made king of Yasharal. The king was already set from the foundation of the world, and ain't none of y'all him. And men need to learn and understand that and bow the knee to Elohim versus worrying about bowing the knee to each other. That's why I say you can't believe because you seek honor one from another. We ain't on that type of time over here. Around here worshiping no man. You niggas dumb. You know what I'm talking about? We ain't worshiping no men. We give honor where honor is due. We don't worship no men, though. And if you ain't speaking constantly, you ain't talking about nothing. You understand? Let's keep on rolling, man. Look what the Lord got to say, man. John chapter 5. This is the baseline. We got through off a little bit. Y'all willing, we won't have these problems on Shabbat. But if we do, I'll do the same thing again. If the screen click on and allow me to record it so it can be uploaded, I'll do just that and go live right in this doggone room. I ain't got no problem with it. Got no problem with it. So don't. One way or another, don't get put on the street. So thank God. That's what we're going to do. John chapter 5, verse 21. Make it 19. Then answered Yahushua and said unto them, truly, truly, I say unto you, the Son can do nothing of himself. But what he see the Abba do, for what things soever he do, these also do the Son likewise. For the Father loved the Son and show him all things that himself do, and show him greater works than these, that you may marvel. For as Abba raised up the dead and quickened them, so the Son quickened whom he will. Now I want y'all to keep that in mind. He say he will make alive whom he choose to make alive. For the words that the Son speak is everlasting life. I want you to come over here to John chapter 6, where the Lord going to tell you that himself. We ain't even going to go. We just sitting back looking at, right, the end, the beginning at the end. Just like we talked about a few weeks ago about the end at the beginning. I think that was what? That was last week? Was that last week? It just was in my mind. I don't forgot. Ain't that something else? Uh, I got a few things, you know what I mean? And there's a reason why I'm starting with this, and I got to swing back to the other one, but I can't go through all the words right now because it'll take me off the live and it'll pause y'all for it. So I'll read it so y'all can have it in your mind. But we're just dealing with word, the speaking of the word, but the speaking of the word from Elohim himself. See, remember that's what it was. We were talking about this last week with the ark, resting upon the curses reversed on Mount Ararat. Sitting back to understand that when you're speaking about everlasting life, you're speaking about the reversal of the curse. That's why we took the time to read in Daniel that the oath, the curse and the oath of the law of Moses was not necessarily the primary curse that he was coming to reverse. That's why we took the time to look at Adam and see the penalty of that curse and why that curse needed to be reversed. As I told you before, it's always going to be the same key points, just said in a different way. The theme is not going to change. I told you before, man, so many people be wanting so much deep information and this, that, there, and the third. But it really just boiled down to you seek to be married to a man who is the greatest man who ever walked the earth. But at the same time, he's a simple man. So what does that mean that he's a simple man? It doesn't take much to please him. He doesn't require much. All you have to do is have a desire to diligently seek and understand him. See, it's no different, like I've told y'all before, on men dealing with women. The world has it backwards that the man spends all his time diligently knowing the woman, when really the woman is supposed to be diligently getting to know the man, because you, as the woman, are seeking this man's leadership, protection, and provision. What is he diligently seeking to know you for? The only thing that he would need to know you for is the ability to serve you. But it's your job to get to know him. This is one of the reasons why the interpersonal relationship with Elohim is backwards, which in turn is why the interpersonal relationships between man and woman are backwards. Because you think it's Elohim's job to get to know you, when it's your job to get to know him. He doesn't need to know you. For what? What benefit does he have from getting to know you? What can you extend to him? Nothing. But you want all the things that he has to give to you. So it would be imperative that you get to know him. But what ends up happening is, because he is the pinnacle, the apex, the bastion of masculinity, if you will, people are offended. They are offended. They don't like masculinity, and therefore they don't like him. So therefore they reject him. And as I told you before, to get a great value version, the Kirkland's version. You know what I'm talking about? The Sam's Choice version of Elohim. No different than a lot of women do when they run across a man. They sabotage the relationship intentionally to destroy it, to end up with a lesser man. Because they don't want the challenge of being with an actual man, because the things that they had done before will not be acceptable to that man, because he's not going to care. And Elohim does not care. You can take that stuff over there with all to take it. You can take that stuff over there where Horus, he'll take it. But Yahuwah's not taking it. And that upsets people. Don't let you be those people. John chapter 6, verse. Many, therefore, of his disciples, when they heard this, said, this is a hard saying, who can hear it? When Yahushua knew in himself that his disciples murmured, added, he said unto them, do this offend you? What and if you shall see the Son of Man ascend up where he was before? It is the Ruach that quicken. The flesh profit nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are Ruach and they are life. But there are some of you that believe not. But Yahushua knew from the beginning who they were that believed not and who should betray him. And he said, therefore said I unto you that no man can come unto me except it was given to him in my Abba. And from that time, many of his disciples went back and walked no more with him. Then said Yahushua unto the 12, will you also go away? Then Simon Peter answered him, Lord, to whom shall we go? You have the words of eternal life. We believe and are sure you are the Mashiach, the son of the living Elohim. They said, what? They said, we don't want that. When that man told them the words that he speak, they are ruach and they are life, and boy said, I'm straight. I don't want that. When it came time to be challenged, that the status quo that you had been doing, that had been sufficient for lesser people, for lesser gods, lesser service, I don't want that. And you have to make sure that you don't catch yourself doing that. I'm talking about in business and in relationships, it's your relationship to Elohim, that you sit back and know that you could go with something lesser to where you don't have to elevate your level of play. That means you're a loser. If you catch yourself doing that, you're thinking like a loser. So now you have to ask yourself, why do you have a loser's mentality? What are you afraid of? Because that's really fear. What are you afraid of? Do you feel unworthy? What's the problem? Because I know a lot of people, none of us are worthy of Elohim. That's a given. That goes without saying. But then you have to understand something, that if he in his goodness and mercy saw fit to extend the fellowship of grace unto you, then he has deemed you worthy of that mercy. So why are you afraid of it? It's no different than I've seen this in my life. Someone who hasn't been loved and someone's it don't got to be no romantic type time. They're afraid of it. But I know why people are afraid. You're afraid to be injured. You're afraid to fail in the vocation. But life is all about risk. And how would you know unless you take the risk? You can't be scared to take risks. You have to risk evaluation, and you got to make it do what it do. The only thing you'll ever do in life that is not a risk is to serve Elohim. And the only thing you really risking is to fall out of favor with the world. And that's not even a risk, in my opinion. That's not even a risk. To fall out of favor with the world, why would you care about falling out of favor with death? Job 37, because at the end of the day, that's what's happening. You're just falling out of favor with death. That's all you're doing. One of the biggest issues I've seen amongst our people in my 40 years of living is that we lose out on love for a lot of stupid reasons. And a lot of people are lonely and unloved because of it. And I ain't even talking about in the natural, because that's a given in the natural. But a lot of 37-1. But on the spiritual side too, they done lost out on Elohim. What? They done lost out on that. You can't lose out on that. Like even when we were talking about, the man has the ability to make sure that his wife have confidence in him, the same way that we have confidence in Elohim. Like the one, see, now this is different. Like with Elohim, you would need to be vulnerable and commit. As a woman, you need to be vulnerable and commit. You can't be scared of that. If you're scared of that, yeah, you're gonna be alone. Because who's gonna want to put up with that? It's not the man's job to be vulnerable. It's his job to commit, but clearly he committed once he said he wanted to make you his wife. It's not his job to be vulnerable with you. I don't even know where that foolishness come from. That's not his job to be vulnerable with you. What can you do with that information? What can you do with that? You can't do nothing with it. Why you think when the Lord was going through that, he didn't sit back and be vulnerable with the boys? He was off in the cut somewhere else. What can Peter, John, and James do with that information? What they were going to be able to do? Those are mortal men. How are they going to be able to comfort the son of Elohim? What were they going to be able to do with that? There was nothing they were going to be able to do. That's why he didn't lay that on his shoulder. That's why he took it to his father. And his father gave him someone to strengthen him in the process. Now remember, right? I'm mentioning those apostles not in the framework of men, but in the framework of his wife. His wife couldn't do nothing for him. Not in that situation. Be vulnerable with her for what? What is she going to do with it? What is she going to do with it? But tell you, baby, it's going to be okay? No, man, that's not what you do. That's not a man's job to be vulnerable with his wife. It's her job to be vulnerable with him because it's his job to heal that. It's his job to be able to concern with that, help her understand. That's why the world out of whack. You might not like it, but that's why the world's out of whack. Because men are acting like women and women are acting like men. And it ain't right. Job 37:1. At this also my heart trembled and is moved out of his place. Hear attentively the noise of his voice and the sound that go out of his mouth. He directed under the whole heaven, his lightning unto the ends of the earth. After the voice roar, he thundered with the voice of his excellency. He will not stay them when his voice is heard. Elohim thunder marvelously with his voice. Great things do he, which we cannot comprehend. For he say to the snow, be on the earth, likewise to the small rain and to the great rain of his strength. He seal up the hand of every man, that all men may know his work. Now, this is what we can do for the evening. Now, remember, we're going to revisit Proverbs 21 and 28. Y'all will on YouTube get his act together by the time the Sabbath roll back around. About he that hears speaks constantly. I want you to think about Job 37. I want you to think about John 6 and 63. I even want you to think about Luke 16. I want you to think about all those things and let them move around in your mind. And we consider about, because the false witness who perished, that's a given. There'll be some contrast and things made in that regard. But I want you to think about that in regards to, remember, constantly is Nasak, and it's separated to the way of life. Because he speaks life, you get separated to the way, or you get separated to the life that is in Yahushua, because he is the way. Because he speaks everlasting life. That's what it says. The man who hears speaks Nasak. The words that he speak are continual. They are perpetual. Also, we will look at the avenues of strength and victory, because it also means that. But hallelujah for Yahushua's word. I'm just going to cut it off over here, but I'll keep it on over here. Does anybody have any questions of any sort, of any kind?